Welcome back, everybody. So, my next movie review for you is The Goonies. So, The Goonies was released on the 7th of June 1985. It was directed by Richard Donner. It was made on a budget of 19 million US dollars and made 124 million US dollars. Probably a lot more than that since then. So, the cast consists of Sean Astin, Josh Brolin, Corey Feldman, Jeff Cullen, Kerry Green, plus many, many others. So in this Goonies movie, we get to see a group of friends called the Goonies go on this adventure to go and find this treasure to basically, it's like a little last adventure for them together. And they're doing this for a reason. And it's just, I'm not going to give too much away just in case you haven't seen this movie. But generally, as a whole, this movie, what do I honestly think about it? It brings back a lot of childhood nostalgia memories for me, and I absolutely love this movie to bits. And here are the reasons why. Okay, the Goonies movie review. Like I said, it was this movie for me does bring back a lot of childhood memories. I was born in 1983. I probably watched this at some point in the late 80s. And ever since I watched it, it's one of those movies where I can always go back to and always go back and enjoy this movie every single time. You know, it's just a movie which I grew up with throughout my childhood, and I just really, really get a lot of enjoyment by watching this movie. And to be honest with you, the storyline in this movie is not that complicated in any way, shape, or form. In fact, again, I can imagine the writers trying to write this, and it's like going like this: making a movie called The Goonies. Let's think of a story for it. I know. We'll get a group of friends together. We'll give them a treasure map, and they got to go and hunt this treasure in their hometown. And pretty much, this is like a big adventure for them, and all that. And it's just going to be absolutely fantastic. There's going to be some few little hairy moments in here. There's going to be some funny moments. There's going to be some good, kind of bring yourself, bring themselves together kind of moments, kind of movie. And we're just going to make it that simple, and I'm hoping it's going to work, and it does work a lot because it's not an overcomplicated storyline. It's mainly focused around the relationship of these friends. It just makes it so much better. It's not complicated. The storyline is pretty much laid out for to you pretty much early on in this movie, and it just makes it really. You don't have to worry about the story. You don't have to worry about figuring stuff out. It's all about watching them go through this adventure, going through a few little trials and tribulations, and the reason why they're doing this. Now, I can probably give away a couple of spoilers, but I don't want to give too much away because I really don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it. And for anybody that hasn't seen it, I will be highly recommending this movie. Um, but they're doing this for a reason. There's a dream here. There's a goal. There's a underlying kind of issue here, which is their driving force to go on this mission. There is this potential kind of rumor of this kind of treasure, and they want to find it to try and save their kind of community. They don't want to lose their community to like people with lots of money or a golf course. And I know that's a big spoiler, and I get that, but it's very difficult to do this movie review without actually putting in a bit of a spoiler, but you really get behind their characters. Yes, okay, there are certain points in this movie where you think it's a little bit unbelievable. I see that more now as I'm older, but I'm also very, very willing just to let those kind of things go because of I grew up with this movie. I can relate to this movie. There's a great scene where they're trying to chunk in through the gate at the beginning of this movie, and there's all this big contraption being made. That's the kind of stuff that I used to try and do when I was a kid, and this is why I can relate to it because I always used to like going on adventures when I was a kid. It sends me back to my childhood. I live in the middle of nowhere. When I was a kid, I used to go off and just explore where I lived. I know every single part of this village or where I live. all the way around. I know this area like the back of my hand. It's as simple as that. Because I went off and explored, I went off these adventures. I used to make up my own little adventure in my head, and that's what I used to do. It's as simple as that. And this is why I can relate to it so much, because where we didn't have technology back when I was younger, it had to be it had to be a case of your own imagination, and you really, if you grew up around the same time as I do, you kind of understand what I'm trying to say here. Because when we didn't have technology, you had to make your own fun, and the only one way I enjoyed used to making my own fun is used to go outside and just explore areas, and this is why I relate to this movie so much, and it makes it so enjoyable. Performances in this movie are actually pretty damn good. I have to be honest with you, knowing that the majority of the cast in here are kids, it still just makes entertaining watch. It's exactly the same as Sean Astin's character. You really get behind his character because there is a goal here. There is a driving force to what he's doing, and towards the end of the movie, you get that sense that he achieved it. There was something there. You just you feel sorry for him, and you really back him, and you know why he's trying to do it, and you really do get behind him. And even like comedic kind of factor characters in here, as in Jeff Cohen or Chunk in here, absolutely fantastic. Yes, there are certain points in here where he doesn't shut up, and now I see him as not annoying. He's definitely not annoying, but you look at it and you go, all right, but it all adds to this movie, and it really does. Every single one of those characters adds a certain element to this movie. It's like the same as Josh Brolin. You know, I know Josh Brolin for playing Thanos or baddies in like, or the baddie in like kind of Deadpool and other movies, but to see him in this movie, even though I knew it was Josh Brolin anyway, he adds his kind of, he's the older kind of father figure in this movie throughout this whole of this movie. I really enjoy what he did here. He has some comedic elements and all that. It's just fantastic, and it's not the same as Corey Feldman because, okay, at the beginning of the movie, he has a bit more dialogue than, say, through the rest of the movie, but it just adds to that comedic kind of element. And plus, I generally like him as an actor as well. He did the voice for Donatello and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's done a lot in his life. Okay, he hasn't rose too high a stardom as, say, like Sean Astin, but, it just still, every single character in this movie just adds their own element to this, and you really get behind this adventure. It's like even the way that this was shot as well. It's just mostly shot in caves, and it has this very big kind of Raiders of the Lost Ark feel. And I love Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I enjoy this one because it's that adventure. It's searching for something. That's what I love more than anything else. Musical score in here is absolutely fantastic. There are other loads and loads of different bits in this movie I love. There's even Sloth. Sloth is this big deformed kind of muscle guy, but he adds to this movie, and it's just absolutely fantastic. And it comes one of the best catchphrases of all time of "Hey you guys." And a little known fact for you: when I was at school, I used to be called Sloth. That was my nickname from the Goonies. Yeah, it's a long story, but this whole movie in itself, really, you get that good feel good vibe from it, and you get behind every character. You get behind Sean Astin's character in this as well, and you really get that sense of adventure, and it throws you back to your kind of childhood nostalgia kind of feeling of when you used to go off and, say, make up an adventure, and then you used to go off and do this adventure. I love the relatability in this movie. I love the way this was shot. I love the way this was done. I love everybody's chemistry on screen on this as well. It looks like they had a lot of fun while making this movie as well. There's a great little slide scene, like water slide scene in there, and it just looks like they made. They just look. It looks like they just had a lot of fun by making this movie, and it is extremely entertaining. And now this could be more of an appreciation, a review, because I'm not trying to pick any holes with it, and I will never try and pick holes with it. Knowing that I'm older now, I could probably pull this movie apart without going, no, that's unrealistic. That's not very realistic. But it's not something that I want to do because I have that connectivity with this movie and that nostalgia kind of feeling. And it's just a very good, entertaining 1 hour 54 minutes. Yes, you'll look at this and go, oh, that's a little bit unrealistic. and that probably wouldn't happen. And there's all sorts of different little things you go, oh, okay, all right. But I forget all that and just go, I love the movie. It reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of what I used to do when I was a kid. And I just love everything about it. Everything about it. It's just an absolutely fantastic movie. So if I was to rate this, always, I would give this like a million out of 10. Honestly, if you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend it. It is good, entertaining, fun. If you have seen this movie, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below as normal. Please stay tuned for the 5 facts of this movie straight after this review. I hope everybody has a great rest of the day, whatever they're doing. Please take care and goodbye. Okay, 5 movie facts about the Goonies. So, the Goonies marked Josh Brolin's movie debut. I actually didn't know that, and he really did rise to stardom after this kind of movie. Played one of the biggest villains in superhero kind of history. Absolutely fantastic actor in every single way. I really do love his work, to be fair. So, fact number 2: in one scene, Sean Astin's character accidentally calls Josh Brolin by his real name in the movie, which is kind of interesting because now I actually want to go back and actually find that scene, because I'm just really intrigued by it, to be honest. Fact number 3: Sloth's Superman T-shirt was a nod to Richard Donner, the director, where he rose to fame for directing Superman the movie, 1978. Now, I did actually know this. I didn't know the T-shirt was a nod to him in this movie, but I did actually know that Richard Donner directed Superman, the movie, which is a nice little interesting fact, I have to be honest with you. So, fact number 4 is the Goonies takes place in exactly the same universe as Gremlins, which, to be fair, it is actually mentioned in the movie. There's a bit where the police officer mentioned the Gremlins in there, so I can quite believe that, to be honest with you. It is mentioned in the movie, and it's part of I think I was reading it might be part of another universe as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I did know about the Gremlins because they mentioned it in the movie itself. Corey Feldman's character, Mouth, he was called Mouth in the movie. The reason why he was actually called Mouth in this movie is because of the jewelry scene where one of the Fratellis, the mother, pulled jewelry out of his mouth because he managed to fit a pearl necklace plus all the other jewelry in his mouth in one big hit. And that is the reason why they actually named him Mouth, because I think it's one of the first scenes they actually filmed within. And that's the reason why they called him Mouth. I thought that was a really interesting fact because he is quite gobby in this movie, but that's kind of what Corey Feldman is. I actually generally love his character, to be fair, and I love him as an actor anyway, even now, to be honest. But there you go. 5. There was loads more facts on here in this movie. There was incredible how many facts there were. But there we go. So on that note, please tell me what you think. Put it in the comments down below as normal. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Please take care and goodbye.